This feature is brought to you by the Oridono Production Company, bringing awareness to that which deserves it.
Okay, so here we are from the Oridono Production Company, and I'm Seth Wonderly. That is Daryl Hayes.
And they have the best f***ing weed in Alaska, let me tell you.
When you can't even find it on Google Earth, you know a town's gonna be a tough find. Back in late 2016, Ori and I were commissioned by the Chamber of Commerce from some beyond the backwater town in Alaska to make a film for them. You can imagine our excitement at the prospect of producing something beyond PSAs for our local grocery store. We made a proposal, set up a budget, even bought some new equipment. Probably around a $20,000 production, this one. We were going all out. We just had to find the damn place first.
I'm Ori. I'm half of Oridono Productions. I come from the East Coast. Dono comes from the West Coast. Somewhere in the middle we meet. Had you ever heard of Merkin before taking on this project?
I think I'd met someone who had been there.
Even after hearing about it, Merkin is so elusive. It's not even shown on Google Earth.
And then he told me about it's called Merkin, Alaska, and I'm like, I looked it up and it wasn't on the map. Yeah, I was like, okay, this town does not exist. It's not on the freaking map. And what is this place? I never heard of it.
Taking our chances, we hopped on a plane out of SeaTac before landing in Barrow, Alaska. It was estimated to be the closest place to where we were headed. We had nothing to go by in terms of directions.
You know, what's weird about this place is that it doesn't look that much like Alaska, and
What do you think Alaska looks like?
I don't know, this?
And I've been following Matilda since I first saw her years ago. She was on a commercial that I saw for legs, pantyhose, and it was so funny, just the character that she had. And then when I saw
Matilda Malcolm was a 3-time Oscar-winning actor and lifelong resident of Merkin since she was a child. She was to be the main subject of our documentary, as she had recently bought out the old local museum and was going to renovate it for the town. We were really looking forward to the opportunity to talk with her. There was just one problem, though.
Yeah, they've got this thing out here between natives and newcomers. They don't like to mix.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, seems this town isn't exactly for strangers. Let's just hope that animosity doesn't extend towards us.
Oh, that might be her. Hold on.
Are we getting a call from Matilda?
No, it's my mother calling. She
Daryl's...
told me to call when we landed.
Oh, right.
Every time I fly, she's got to know I landed well.
What was your reaction when being commissioned by the Chamber of Commerce to take on this project?
Well, I laughed.
When Merkin's Chamber of Commerce approached our production company, the Oridono Production Company, with this opportunity, my reaction was literally, what the hell? I mean, I'd only ever heard of this town because some friend told me about it, and now all of a sudden they want us, of all people, to make this film dedicated, not just dedicated to them, but about them. This film is them, in essence, and I guess it actually was pretty humbling in a sense as well.
We did what we could to keep ourselves from getting any more angsty than we'd already become.
Everyone knows that Dibs has horrid breath.
Mostly just pointless small talk.
I tried to brush her teeth for a while, but all it did was piss her off, frustrate me like you would a pig.
How do you brush a dog's teeth? How?
They got these little finger cuts that have little ridges on them, and you use this gel.
We've been riding the back roads for some time, hardly a mile mark or any other signage in sight. Thank God the weather's good.
Okay, so we finally found the town. After being lost for God knows how long, we're here. And what a little town it is.
Before we knew it, we just stumbled upon it. Didn't even have a welcome sign. We only knew it was a place thanks to a local we asked in passing. You know, for a town you can't even see on the map, there's actually a lot to look at around here. Scenery ain't bad.
This production company that I founded with Ori was founded with the intention of bringing awareness to things that really deserve it. And I think that is what we've set out to. That is what we set out to accomplish, and that is what we have accomplished. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this.
Merkin is America's most modest town. We want people to visit Merkin. Merkin deserves to be a known town.
I feel kind of bad about my preconceived notions about this town. I wish I hadn't made assumptions and taken its image for granted like I did. Because since I've been here, met its people, seen its sights, it's a really nice place. My perception's certainly changed. You know, I think yours will too.
In all 27 years of my life, I've had some good years, I've had some bad years, I've had some fun years, and I've had some boring ones too. And of all those years, 2016 was the most interesting of them all.
Birds flying high, sun in the sky, sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Birds flying high, breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. Birds flying high, sun in the sky, sun in the sky. You know how I feel. It's the new
Yeah, so I'm Matt Hall. I'm an Australian, and I'm here racing the Red Bull Air Race in this Edge V3, which is the first race we've had in this plane. I'm a fighter pilot from the Royal Australian Air Force, and I was in Perth when there was an air race there. We had some Hornets over there doing some demos for the sideshow entertainment. And I got talking with the management. I already flew aerobatics on the weekends, and they said, hey, that'd be an interesting combination to take a fighter pilot who did aerobatics and put him in a race plane. So we did that, and it worked out. Turned out I had a bit of an ability in a race plane, so I resigned from the Air Force after 18 years and became a full-time race pilot. When I started air racing, it was only just starting to develop, and people were buying basically a stock aerobatic aircraft, or they were even borrowing a stock aerobatic aircraft from a friend to go racing in. And modifications were only just starting to happen, but the canopies were big, there was no control on the weights, there's no limits on what you could do with the engines, and it was sort of heading in a weird and wild direction, whereas now it's a professional motorsport. We have our own racing regulations. We have the FAI involved to make sure that there's no cheating, that everyone is flying cleanly, there's no dangerous situations being put in front of the crowds. And we have everyone completely focused and dedicated in their lives to this sport, whereas when it was going previously, people did it as a part-time gig. They took leave from work to race. So now everyone this is their job, this is what they do. They travel the world racing, and when they're not racing, they're working on their aircraft to make them as fast as possible. For this race here, the most difficult part is getting from gate 3 to 4 to 5 efficiently. So that's really quite a hard turn there, and people are using a lot of G to get around that corner, and there are a lot of pylons hit in that corner as well. So everyone's working out a way to do that very fast, but also risk-free, so you don't get a penalty. When I'm getting ready for a race, I have a few weeks, basically we're getting ready for racing all the time with the aircraft and with my physical fitness, but about 2 weeks before we start racing, we start analysing the track. We don't do it any earlier than that because you can go stale on it, so we start analysing, and really I just think about it in my mind until we get here, and then I rehearse the track in upper air, and then we get into the track and we actually race the track, look at our telemetry, debrief on what worked, what we need to change, and then make some adjustments and go and train again. Before I actually fly, I spend a lot of time just relaxing. It's a sort of sport where you don't need to build yourself up and pump yourself up like a boxer or anything, getting angry. You want to be as cool and calm as possible because the sport naturally elevates you when you're in the track. I have physical standards I try to keep myself to, such as normal measurements of waistline measurements, body fat measurements, actual weight. I've got to control my weight because I am part of the package, and we have minimum weights we have to weigh into to qualify when we go in. So if I lose too much weight, we can get disqualified. If I gain too much weight, we're at a disadvantage. So I have to control those measures of my body, and I have a physical trainer that helps me maintain that throughout the season. What we do in the air race as a pilot is, the cool thing about it is we get to go and do what's illegal in any other sport or in any other aviation field. Throughout your aviation career, you're told, don't fly low around the city, don't fly below 500 feet, don't take the aircraft to its operating limits, and definitely don't hit anything. And we're then told, hey, go fly the aircraft to its pilot operating handbook limits, up near the stall, at low level, downtown. Try not to hit the pylons, but if you do, it's not a problem. There's limits we have when we're flying. So there are still limits with what we do. There's rules, and the rules are set so that we can't hurt ourselves. So the limit of the G that we can pull is well below the limit of the aircraft. There's speed limits, so we can't go just as fast as we want. We've got to start at a speed limit. From there, we can operate the aircraft though to its physical flying limit, so operating it to as fast as you can go. Some turns you need to be smooth actually. You need to be the smoothest glider pilot type flying as you can for efficiency. Other times in the track you need to be on it like a fighter pilot and just as hard as you can. So it's being able to transition and figure out where to play with the aircraft, and that's the cool thing about sport. Sport is about who can take the pot of energy, whether that's physical energy, whether it's energy in an aircraft, whether it's energy in a race car, and who can spend that pot the best so they cross the finishing line in first place. And some people, if they blow the pot too early in the race, they don't make the finishing line. Other people, they've got too much in the pot when they cross the finishing line. It's like, wow, I could have gone faster. So it's being able to control that energy pot so that you finish first. So when I'm not racing, I basically think about racing. So we're always thinking about, what are we doing with the plane? What are we doing with the team? I'm also the business owner, so if I'm not racing, I'm actually running the business as well. I do quite a bit of flying back home. I do public speaking, and every now and then I try and take a break. I do air shows in Australia as well, yeah. Jump on our website, matthallracing.com, and you will see what we're doing back in Australia.
The Dungeness River originates high in the North Olympic mountain range of Washington State, near the city of Sequim in Clallam County. 546 miles of streams and tributaries feed the second steepest river in the United States, dropping 7,300 feet to the Dungeness Bay and the Strait of Juan de Fuca. The river supports 4 species of ESA-listed salmon and steelhead, along with providing 170 miles of irrigation ditch and pipeline that support about 6,000 acres throughout the lower Dungeness Valley. The lower Dungeness is prone to severe winter flooding, which affects the city of Sequim as well. But for all its raging, the river faces a threat not seen before in modern times: climate change.
Well, the Dungeness Off-Channel Reservoir Project is really one of the first significant things that the county has undertaken to try and address the reality of climate change and help us adapt to it.
Climate change is changing the way we manage water and what's even available to us. There are many who want to debate it, but we see it in evidence when we witness that the snowpack and the glaciers are no longer there in the kind of abundance that they have been for so many generations.
We have a snow-dominant system that's moving to a rain-dominant system, meaning we're getting more rainfall and less snowfall. And so our snowpack reservoirs are not getting supplied like they used to. 2015 was an excellent example where we had historic low flows, the worst drought in Washington State history. Our river dropped to 60 cubic feet per second, which was not enough water for salmon to make it upstream to their spawning grounds.
Irrigation is a crucial component of keeping our farm viable moving into the future. We have a large amount of water between rainfalls, storm events that move through this community. Our challenge is being able to have that water available when we need it late in the irrigation season.
So the irrigators have worked very hard over the last 25 years to conserve water. Most of the conservation work has been piping open irrigation ditches, which were very inefficient in terms of conveying water to the fields. The proposed reservoir will store enough water to supply almost all of the irrigation requirements on the east side of the Dungeness River during the last month or two of the irrigation season.
The city views stormwater as a resource. Taking this water into this off-channel reservoir, it can be used many times for salmon, for agriculture, for aquifer recharge, and to reduce flooding in the city of Sequim. Right now, we're taking freshwater resource, stormwater, moving it right through town out to the Strait of Juan de Fuca. We're turning fresh water into salt water, and that doesn't make any sense.
The beauty of this design is that it's got a twice yearly fill and drain cycle. In a normal year, it's going to be filled in the winter with the usual winter rainy season runoff, and then drained in the spring for aquifer recharge. Again, in the normal year, it would be refilled in May, June with snowmelt runoff, and then drained in August for irrigation purposes. In a low snowpack year, in contrast, if you can see that there's no snowpack that's going to result in snowmelt in that late spring time frame, you save that water from the winter rains all the way till August, and you've still got your irrigation water.
We're also looking at creating a new county park. We'll have access to the river. We'll have all kinds of uses from hiking and birding to equestrian trails. It will be a tremendous asset for the public of Clallam County and folks that live in and around the Dungeness Valley to come up and enjoy their river and have a park that's right next to the river.
Before we can build an off-channel reservoir, we had to find an appropriate location, and we identified a site that's currently managed by the State Department of Natural Resources. And we were so pleased to learn that our application for a trust land transfer was supported by the Department of Natural Resources and made their list of recommendations to the state legislature.
This initiative by all of our partners, the city, the county, the stakeholders, and the tribe, is a way for us to be smarter about the future generations. That climate change is making a difference in the way we're doing business and how we're becoming better stewards of that resource.
Well, a big part of the story here is how well so many local governmental entities and organizations are working together to plan and advance this big and important project. And it's because of the experience working together over the years that we have such an effective working group pushing this project forward right now.
This idea, this proposal is grassroots popular without question. Every single person that we tell about it has the same reaction, that we need it immediately, if not sooner.
Reservoir benefits include significant flow restoration for ESA-listed species, long-term agricultural viability, improved stormwater management and flood mitigation, increased aquifer recharge, water resource protection, a new 320-acre county park with river frontage, and climate resiliency for fish, farms, and people.
We started in 2011, 2012, so we're in our 6th year of the program. We started out basically as just a carpentry program, and that's what we focused on, and it was all about getting individuals out in the workforce to be carpenters.
I made a bench. We're working on making a dormer on a roof. Right now we're making a cabinet.
We get a really neat mix of students.
I've been helping my dad a lot with projects around the house, and I kind of was just holding tools for him and not learning anything, so I wanted to learn more so I could help him out. But also, I grew up watching my grandfathers in the shop. They're both carpenters. So Yeah, I've always kind of been interested in it. On the off days when we don't have class, you can also come in and work on projects. And you can bring your own things in, and I really like that because you have a little bit more investment in it, and it's fun.
I think it's a great opportunity for them. By the time they graduate high school, they've already got their AA degree. As far as my adult students go, I get typically a really nice mix of students who want to go to work for themselves, students who want to go out and work in the trades, and then also a nice mix of individuals who are here for their own knowledge. I'd say probably about a third of my students are here for that purpose. Either they want to buy homes and remodel, or they already own a home and they want to remodel that.
I enrolled in the green building program to gain a better understanding of the business side of construction sites and managing construction sites, especially internationally.
Our construction leadership certificate, and that's a new one that we started this year. What it offers is in the first quarter you're going to cover construction or job site management. The second quarter is estimation, and the third quarter is construction management.
What I'm learning now is the soft skill set, being able to do the stuff on paperwork, finding out what the new rules and how to find them for how to set up for the construction trade again.
The students who really want jobs, there's jobs out there. There's a lot of remodeling, there's a lot of new construction that's kind of taking off. There's also, we're finding a need for cabinet makers. In the second year, we kind of get more into the green building and then kind of focus on two main areas, and those are on residential new construction or like commercial. How can we implement and make it a more green structure? And then also we look at existing structures and how can we raise the efficiency and the energy.
Oh my gosh, I'm having the time of my life. I wish I would have done this 30 years ago. I am. I love it.
We've got an excellent shop, fantastic tools. We've got a knowledgeable teacher who gives us fun projects with a lot of great learning points involved with it.
Right now I live in a mobile home, so I'd like to maybe build my own house.
I don't care how old you are or how young you are. Go to school, find out what you like to do, find out your passion.
Hop in there, try it out. You know, it's fun. It's fun, and it opens up so many more doors just in your own house. You know, if something breaks and then all of a sudden 5 ideas come on how you could fix it or improve it. I mean, you have so many more options. Just woodworking is fascinating.
This program, the Northwest Veteran Resource Center, is sponsored by the Green Alliance for Veteran Education, which is a local veteran nonprofit. I am fortunate enough to be serving on the board of that nonprofit. If there are resources out there to help veterans, I actually access the Veterans Relief Fund myself to help pay my rent. And they saved me and brought that assistance to me.
I think not a lot of veterans or a lot of people getting out, they have a hard time transitioning. And you know, that can be pretty tough, and it's hard to find another group of other people to kind of gain camaraderie with, and I think that a lot of people, they just kind of get lost.
The VA is a big thing, and there's lots of different sections of it, and they usually just need help navigating, and that's probably the biggest thing we do. Or sometimes, a lot of times, they just come in here, maybe they're new to the area or have just found out about us, and they're looking for just what Port Angeles or the Peninsula in general has for them, for veterans.
I'd say definitely getting in touch with those folks at the Resource Center, because everybody's situation is different when they get out of the Air Force. I mean, it could be somebody that's done 5 years, or somebody that's done 20 years, somebody that's been involved in a lot of combat situations. You know, there's so many different variables for a veteran coming out of the service. It's helpful to find as many different resources out there as possible, and they do a really good job at combining all those resources and finding people the right path to take. And I say don't forget to take advantage of your GI Bill. It's a huge benefit, and unfortunately I see a lot of folks that kind of let that one slide and don't take advantage of it. Biggest things we provide for veterans here on campus is they have an early registration. So they can come in and register before all the other students, which works out really good when you have classes that are very popular and in high demand.
How did you hear about the Veterans Resource Center?
I've heard it through the stand down, actually. I didn't really know much about the Veterans Resource Center after I got out, so when I saw the flyers around and saw that it was for veterans, I wasn't really doing anything at the time and went over there and saw what was going on, and that's how I met most of the people that were there helping me get through my tough situations. Definitely check your resources for veterans programs, and if you have your GI Bill, to definitely use it, because that's what I'm doing now and it's really helping me a lot right now. It's rough being out in the world as a veteran if you don't really know what there is to turn to, so once you know that you're out there needing help and you actually find it, it feels like a major relief. And everything's just not as bad as it seems.
I got out in June of '70. A lot of people were against the war, so I was afraid actually to be seen in my uniform or even to tell people that I'd been.
It was kind of a tough time personally because I didn't really have a home to come back to.
I was a struggling veteran at one point. I was going to school, I was married, had 3 kids.
Nobody says this is how you're going to transition into being a civilian. You know, they give you a little bit of help, but it can be very intimidating.
Oh, there's tons of veterans who they don't really know what's out there.
The program, the Northwest Veteran Resource Center, is sponsored by the Green Alliance for Veteran Education, which is a local veteran nonprofit. As a subsidiary we have the Northwest Veteran Resource Center. We also have the Veterans Garden out in Robin Hill, where veterans and their families can grow produce. We oversee the Clown County Veterans Relief Fund, assisting veterans and their families who are having financial difficulties. This is what we do. So we're a resource center for these veterans to come in, or the family members. We are on Facebook, so you can find us on Facebook. So our website's a little bit behind. Primarily it's word of mouth. So I want to make sure these veterans and their family members that they get the recognition. Come in, let us recognize what you've done, let us help you get the benefits you deserve.
We'll help them if we can't help them, and just kind of bridge the gap between the veteran and the VA and all the resources in the community.
After being homeless for quite a while, I went to the Veterans Resource Center and they helped me with getting a housing voucher and a stable place to stay. Jack Cody. I'm from Port Angeles, Washington. I'm a student here at Peninsula College. I was in the Army for 4 years, enlisted, and served 1 deployment to Iraq for 8 years.
I was in the Air Force for 20 years, retired about 4 or 5 years ago as an armament systems specialist. My name's Brian Kneidl. I'm the worker retraining coordinator for Peninsula College.
Hi, I'm Mark Calamar from Forks, Washington. I was in the Seabees. I was an equipment operator. I went to Vietnam for about 8.5 months.
It takes a whole group of resources out there to help support a veteran and their family members. We're one access point to plug people into all of the resources around this area.
You have tons of resources. You just got to know where to ask, and there are people to help you, and you're not alone.
places I spent with my son before he died, my oldest. Another thing that I think about sometimes is we just don't know how long we'll be here, whatever way we die, whether if it's by choice or by an accident. Like, we really don't know. And you can spend so much energy thinking about and working over in your mind and agonizing or having anxiety over something that happened in the past. Bad things are going to happen. And some people take those things and they begin to hyper-focus on it and become bitter and angry and frustrated and let it pull them down. And you have to fight that so hard, but it's one of the hardest things in life, you know, is not to let the world change you. Not sleeping enough, probably drinking too much, all those kinds of things that people do when they're going through something so sad. It's like 3 miles a day. I can't even walk to my mailbox and back, you know. And he says, well, if you don't start walking, you're going to have to go in a facility or something. But I was stubborn. Like, I refused to take any kinds of medication. I was not convinced that I was depressed. But I said, yeah, exercise is probably good. So as soon as I got the puppy, I just put the leash on and I started walking her, and first to the end of the driveway and back. I do that a couple times a day, and then I just set the goal further and further, the next stop sign, the next mailbox, the next post. She was kind of the little spindly one. She was kind of was kind of dull in her coat and kind of spindly, and the other puppies kept knocking her down. And she kept trying to sit up, and they'd knock her down, and she kept looking right at my husband. And he picked up the biggest, fattest one, of course, the big, beefy one. That's when this was a big one. This is one we should get. I said, what about that one? She wants to get out of here. Giving me a reason, something to take care of, a reason to go, you know, companionship, affection. She's always happy. And you can spend some of your time planning for the future, but ultimately, the way that you treat people and how you spend your time today. This is what you have. This is what I have. I got up this morning and I said, you know, this is what kind of day I'm going to have. I'm going to choose to be happy. So all you can do now is use your energy to try to encourage the people that are left behind. I mean, because there is so much guilt and wondering and questioning about, you know, if you could have done better or done something different, but the answer to me is probably not. I love it here. I love this earth. I love being a part of a chain of other living things. I love the fragility. Everything's so fragile. It's like people they're so harsh. Like, they don't understand how fragile life is here. I mean, I think there's things I wish maybe I would have done differently, but then maybe I wouldn't be who I am, or I wouldn't have learned my lesson, right? That's just part of growing up.
Most people, when they think about Serenity House, they think about our shelters, and they think about the homeless that you see on the street, some panhandling, some not.
About a year and a half ago, I got ill with a rare disorder and lost my job and no income. This is where I had to go.
There's a couple places in town that are safe that you can sleep under them, but it just, doesn't feel like home.
It's like a safe place for me and my kids. I have these opportunities every single day to interface with other parents with children, and I also have case managers, which I never had before, that are looking out for me.
Where do you think you would be right now if it weren't for Serenity House?
I don't know where I'd be. I think that I'm not sure if we would be a complete family, if some members of the family would be here or not.
Probably sleeping in my truck.
Serenity House is a community-based nonprofit organization eliminating homelessness since 1982. If you or someone you know needs shelter, contact us and begin a fresh start today. To support Serenity House, donate directly on our website or shop at Serenity House Thrift Store in Sequim, Washington. Don't miss your chance to make our county a better place.
Thank you, Serenity House! Woo!
Well, for 23 years in Clallam County, Habitat's been able to assist by building about one home per year, and we can continue to do that. Neighborhood revitalization allows us to help even more people, 10, 20, even 30 families, by providing home repair, home assistance, so that people can stay in their own homes.
One of the impacts of neighborhood revitalization is bringing out new members to the Habitat's mission, whether it be the Rally in the Alley or the smaller home projects to help out their neighbors or people in their neighborhood.
I've been really impressed with the Clallam County affiliate. It's really been exciting to see them evolve in their neighborhood revitalization work. They really have been a catalyst and sort of a convening entity to bringing together some residents and some partners and some community associations in the city together to work together on this project.
We're here today to work on what we call Rally in the Alley. This is our third Rally in the Alley, and each time it's gotten bigger, and as you can see from the crowd behind me, this is quite a turnout once again. It's City Council goal to really work on neighborhood revitalization, and we love having Habitat as a really key partner in that.
Really excited to be here with all of these folks behind me. It's an amazing turnout, and it's really awesome to see how fast we can fill up huge dumpsters with yard debris and garbage.
So, neighborhood revitalization is a new approach for Habitat. We are known for building homes, building new homes, recycling homes, but neighborhood revitalization is a holistic approach to our communities. We are here to help. It is a program for homeowners, but we want to kind of engage those residents and let them know if they need some help with their home, Habitat is here to help.
So we do things like helping low-income homeowners maybe paint their house if they need assistance with that, repair fences, decks, things like that. But then we also do community projects like this where we bring out everyone to help their neighbors as well. And we have nearly 100 volunteers come out again today. It's so awesome. Students, little kids, seniors, Rotarians, you name them, Sequim Community Church members, volunteers. It's just pretty awesome.
I mean, we know that kids thrive in a healthy and safe home. And neighborhood revitalization really helps us to get there. Neighborhood revitalization is a wonderful way for folks to get involved, to take care of their neighbors across the street or across town. It takes a lot of love, it takes a lot of effort, but it works.
To one of the world's most challenging areas. Here, many individuals are pushed to their limits, and many don't make it past year one. Today on Nature's Menaces, we discover prison's younger, less experienced brother, the community college. I have come today prepared for whatever experience this unrelenting environment throws at me. In addition, I've been put into contact with someone who subjects themselves to this horror every day. Let's go meet them. We begin our descent into the unknown with the last beacon of light shone upon this place. Here, many individuals of the community lead and maintain the very, very scarce stability that can be found in these dangerous lands. It is here that we will meet our navigator, Miss Danica Gould. Miss Gould has recently been promoted from the lower statuses, so I thought she would be the perfect link between myself and the drones of this workforce, known in this society as students. These individuals participate in sometimes life-threatening rituals as dictated by the surrounding society. Here we are in the mainframe of the hive. Now, it is very, very important to not anger even the most civilized of the community. They are very rabid beings, so I will do my very best to speak respectfully and calmly. Hello, I'm looking for Miss Gould. I'm Dr. Trey Sturban. Can you inform me of where Miss Gould is residing?
Are you Dr. Sturban? I'm Danica Gould. We spoke about a campus tour.
Oh yes, pleasure to make acquaintance. So tell me, Miss Gould, how long have you been pacifying the students for? I mean, how long have you been working at the college?
Well, I'm a recent hire for one of the full-time positions in administration, but I did attend the college and I got my bachelor's in business here.
Fascinating. So you're telling me that you were able to fight off various key threats to achieve success in your world today? It must have been very difficult to adjust from student life.
Well, school was tough, but I'm excited to make a difference. Are you ready to go? We've got a lot to cover today.
Indeed, I am, Miss Gould. When we head out, we must be very careful to avoid making any brash or sudden movements, and it is essential that we avoid any and all eye contact. All right, let's go. Fascinating.
Here is an information packet on Peninsula
Fascinating.
College. This way is the pub.
Oh yes, incredible.
Well, we have quite a history here at Peninsula College. Originally...
Hold on one moment, Miss Gould. Just in front of me is the mobilized body on their way to the next step of their daily rituals. These students often find fulfillment in their darling lives by creating certain in-groups or cliques, as they were.
So, as the great gates of Hellcrox open up, a massive dragon emerges from the fray, black as the night sky, walking towards you. What do you do?
All right. I'm gonna go up to it, jump on its back, and try and ride it like a bull. Oh. Really? Totally.
And finally there's...
Dr. Sturman, is it all right if we continue the tour? Like I said, much to cover.
Very well, let us continue this fascinating journey. I'm starting to see why you keep so close to your former tribe mates.
Right. This is the Pirate Union building, commonly known to our many students as simply the pub. This is where students will come to do homework, relax with friends.
Oh yes! This is the pub I've heard so much about. Here, students come to this facility to partake in the multitude of abnormal rituals that keep the society functioning throughout the day. So, tell me, Miss Gould, what type of sustenance do these students require?
Well, there's the deli on our left, and a lot of students bring food from home. But I suppose you would want to look at the deli.
Marvelous! Shall we take a look at this deli?
Of course.
Miss Gould, what is this interesting concoction?
Oh, that's super energy. Sometimes students need a little bit of an energy boost, so they can buy one of those. It's used as a sort of means to stay awake or focus. I had to drink some once in a while myself.
So, would you say that this super energy is sort of a rite of passage in the community?
Well, if you want to look at it that way, I guess.
From what the guide has told me, this drink is a sort of ritual to ensure that the students can compete amongst their peers for survival. This is splendid. Perhaps, to get a better feel of this, I might try some as well, as a sort of symbol of unity between myself and the community.
Well, I don't think...
This is wonderful! I understand why the community partakes in this ritual now. I mean, as I drank from this ritualistic concoction, the sudden euphoria of energy has given me an idea.
Right. Will you excuse me for a moment, Trey? I have to use the restroom.
Oh, of course. Whoa! Now, I have rigged a trap to demonstrate how dependent the community is to this concoction. My hypothesis is that regardless of whether or not the area is safe, he'll still try to grab it.
Is this an unopened can of super energy I see right here? Yes! Yes! Success!
Trey, what are you doing? I leave for a few minutes and you put a box over a student? What is going on here?
I was just trying to test out a theory. That's all.
Dr. Sherman, I'm afraid this experience has been either too weird or intentionally a prank. Now, I'm afraid we're going to have to cancel the tour, and I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
You don't understand. I'm on the verge of breaking through to understand the community.
Dr. Sturban, these students are like normal, everyday people. For you to try to treat them like they're not is unethical in many ways. I might not be a scientist, but even I know ethics, and you are not representing your field at all. Now, if you'll follow me, I'll see that you make it to the bus on time.
As we explored the dangerous lands, we were able to discover many secrets behind the typical college community. I wish we had the opportunity to stay there and learn more, but unfortunately, if we had, we might have been killed. But hey, no one ever said science was easy, right? Next time on Nature's Menace, we will be exploring the mole. Until next time, this is Dr. Trey Sturman signing out.